Hi guys, Elvis X here, welcoming you back to Dubster, the series where we talk about a series English dub, and lay out whether it's good, whether it's bad, or whether it's Platinum End. Yeah, I had to get one more jab in there since the end of Platinum End is near, which means I can't get away from it too much longer. Anyway, on my quest to think of what to cover next, well, it turns out that monthly Girls Nozaki Kun, a show that I heard decent things about, was leaving Netflix at the time of this recording in about a week. And, between my choices of watching this on High Dive or Netflix for convenience sake, yeah, I obviously expedited watching this on Netflix for very obvious reasons. Only to find out Netflix did not have the 6 special shorts that take place after episode 12 and continue the series a little farther. So regardless, I still shot myself in the foot and had to seek those out anyways. Isn't life just typical? Anyway, monthly Girls Nozaki Kun, another Sentai dub out of the gate. So, what is this series about? Well, it's your typical rom-com. I'll get to the plot in a minute, but let me just say up front, me and rom-coms have a very complicated relationship. Kind of like an abusive relationship. Sometimes they lure you in with their pretty animation, sweet words, but then you get catfished and the show turns out to be utter crap. In this case, it's alright. So, yeah. Romance, anime, and me don't really mix very well. Last year everyone was obsessed with Hori, and while I thought the show was fine enough, for example, I wasn't crazy obsessed with it like a lot of my peers were. So, just letting you all know up front, I should say, my thoughts on the subject. If you like this sort of stuff, that's cool, that's fine. Just saying, a lot of times, romance anime has to click for me in the right way, for example, like High Score Girl did. But enough dilly-dallying about that. Monthly Girls Nozaki Kun is a manga written by Izumi Tsubaki, whose first manga she ever purchased apparently was Yu Yu Hakusho. Nice. She's written other words such as The Magic Touch. That sounds like a hentai. Anyway, this manga was also published in Square Enix again? I wasn't even trying to do that! How the hell did I manage to find 2 Square Enix works in a row? Interesting. Anyway, the anime would be produced by Doga Kobo in 2014. Doga, or as I like to call them, Daga, are the studio behind New Game and My Senpai is Annoying. Shows that I have a very mixed relationship with on my thoughts. Anyway, Sentai Filmworks would produce the dub and release it in March of 2016. So, what is this series about? Well, we follow our main character, a girl named Chiyo Sakura, as she confesses her love to her crush, a dude named Nazaki. However, because this is a rom-com, she confesses it in the most weird way possible, saying she is indeed his biggest fan. Without realizing, Nazaki happens to be a famous mangaka who writes shoujo manga. Thus, when he hears, "Oh, you're my biggest fan? Okay, here you go, here's an autograph." She's like, "No, that's not what I meant. What I mean is that he's like, oh, you want to help me with my manga? Okay, sure." Thus, she's brought home with him to be his assistant because she, at that point, can't work up the nerve to tell him that she's fallen in love with him. Again, after this happens, she's like, screw it, I'll go along with it. At least I get to spend time with the guy I love. Thus, insanity ensues. They get their other friends involved, who we'll get to in a bit, including Monica Rial. And needless to say, yeah, I had a fun time with this show. Yeah, it was alright. If you're in the mood for a rom-com, I'd suggest it. Animation, you all know how that goes around these parts. Kind of blind, so I can't tell you all how it is, but I've heard this studio does adequate work. The OST is very passable. It's what you'd expect from a slice-of-life rom-com. Not gonna knock your socks off or anything. It's just okay. Now, as far as the dub cast goes, let's get into the reason this is called Dubster Dive. ADR director this time is Kyle Colby Jones, who I'm pretty sure we've covered here a couple of times. Either way, he's up for doing a lot of shit at Sentai. As far as script writing goes, it fell on Caitlin Barr, and again, Kyle Colby Jones. And I will say the script for this was pretty hilarious. There's a lot of lines here that I absolutely love. For example, one of the characters, Makoshiba, says a line to Nazaki when they're playing a dating sim together. He said that it's never a good idea to let a woman in real life see a man's weakness. So, yeah. Truer words have never been spoken. No, seriously. If you're a man, probably shouldn't cry in front of a woman. I don't know. It might sound old-fashioned, but there's a reason that's stuck around so long. Just saying. There's other quotes, too, but we'll get to that in a bit. Either way, the point is, I thought the script was pretty great. There was a lot of funny moments that did make me laugh out loud. Lol. So yeah. Now let's get to our cast list. First, we have Nazaki, who's, I guess you could say, the stoic type. He's a bit of an idiot and oblivious at times, too, where he doesn't realize that some of the stuff he's doing, he's like, well, I don't know how to express feelings very well. Oh, well. Well, he's played by T.Y. Mahani? M-H-A-A-N-Y. Yeah, I don't know either. I probably butchered the pronunciation of his name. He's known for voicing Susanoo from Akame ga Kill, and he's Junko in Devil Survivor 2, the animation. I'm gonna have to cover that at some point. Oh, shit. He's also Pro 5 in Hero Mask Sentai dub. You know, with how many times we referenced that, one of these days we are going to cover Hero Mask. And I think he does good as Nazaki. Again, it's what you'd expect. Nazaki's a character who's not very emotional. He doesn't wear his heart on his sleeve, as we should say. He's quiet and reserved. So, next we have our main female, Chio Sakura, aka Best Girl, Fight Me, played by Juliette Simmons. Chio is very upbeat, peppy, hyperactive, and really happy. You know, she's the hyperactive one of the bunch, I guess you could say. And, yeah. She wants to help out Nazaki as best she can, while also helping one day the dumbass will wake up and notice that she's in love with him. But again, he's kind of oblivious. Juliette Simmons is known for voicing Steia from Mother of the Goddess Dormitory. Yes, I did watch that show. Don't judge me. Anyway. And Kanade from Chihaya Furu. I have heard decent things about that. As well as Shizuku from Chivalry of a Failed Knight, which has been requested here quite a few times. I will get to that at some point. Anyway, Juliette Simmons might be MVP of the dub. I think she does great as Chio. So, yeah, I don't really have much complaints. You can tell she's having a lot of fun here. Next, we have the two protagonists of Nazaki's manga, because they do get speaking lines when they pan over, like, well, how would these characters act in this scene? You don't get enough of them to get a personality, but I figured I might as well list them off anyway since they're on the main cast list. First, we have Suzuki, the male protag of the shoujo manga. Chris Patton is who voices him, who I've always liked hearing. Chris Patton is Sagura from Fullmetal Panic and Greed from Fullmetal Alchemist, as well as his most famous role, Policeman in Episode 5 of Elfenlied. That show about the fucking dead dog or whatever. Elfenlied is weird. Anyway. And Chris Patton does good for what he's given here. Again, it's not much, it's just him reading off manga panels, I guess you could say. Same with the female protagonist, Mamiko, voiced by Melissa Milano, who we just covered here last time in Kakegururi. You should all watch that if you didn't. But she's also Akane from Seven Seeds, and Oshizu from To Love Ru. I haven't seen that show, probably butchered that, I'm sorry. That is a series I also really want to get to, because, you know, cultured and anime titties and all that. And again, both her and Chris Patton do good with what they're given, but yeah. Next, we have my favorite character in this series, Makoshiba. Makoshiba is a massive playboy. I guarantee if this were dubbed 10 years ago out of Funimation, he'd be Vic Mignogna. He literally gives off Tamaki vibes. If you like Tamaki, you're going to love Makoshiba. A lot of his character traits are similar, where he'll say really cringy dialogue like, oh yeah, you want to take photos of me, you hot chick? Well then, etc. But his quirk is, after saying that, when they leave, he immediately gets embarrassed because he's like, oh my god, how could I say something so cringy? I feel like such an idiot. But he can't help himself because whenever he sees a hot chick, he wants to hit on them. So he also looks very flamboyant, shall we say, which is why you find out Nazaki based Mamiko, his female protagonist in his manga, off of Makoshiba. I don't know, I thought that was kind of funny. Because, yeah, when you go into writing, you'll find out a lot of people like basing characters in their fiction off people they know, like their friends and stuff. Anyway, enough gushing about Makoshiba. He's voiced by Scott Gibbs, who we just covered here before, again in Kakegurui. He's Sora, No Game, No Life, which I already mentioned last time, but he's also Hector and Baki, the Sentai dub, and Satoshi in Food Wars. Still need to watch Season 5 of that. And it's interesting going from Kaede and Kakegurui to this, where Kaede is very serious and wants to take charge, and Makoshiba is more goofy, shall we say, and basically typical best friend Kun that you'd expect in a rom-com-like setting. But yeah, Makoshiba for the win, man. After him, we have Hori. Hori is part of the drama club, and he's helps out Nazaki by drawing the backgrounds for him. He's a good background artist, shall we say, in his spare time. He's also really short, so he feels like he can't play the main role in acting when it comes to a drama play or whatever. And yes, there's a lot of jokes with that. But yeah. He also has his own ship. Yeah, I should mention, a lot of the other characters have their own ships in the series, which I do really like when it's not just one ship. Hence one of the reasons why I thought Horimiya was alright, even though this type of thing really isn't for me. Anyway, Hori is voiced by Adam Noble, who's Takuma in Babylon. Seriously, I need to watch that. And Chisato and Brian Hilder in The Darkness, which I also heard is kind of ecchi. Someone please let me know if that's worth watching or not. And Adam Noble does alright. Again, Hori's more of a... he's one of those that takes his work very seriously. He's the serious one when it comes to the whole drama club thing. He wants the place to go super serious. And it's implied he also might like our very next character, who I've got a lot to say about, Kashima. Kashima is considered the prince of this school. Even though she's a woman, she hits on all the women, even though Hori actually likes her. She even tries talking like a man and dressing like a dude. And can't sing for shit. Yeah, you actually get to hear her sing, and it is dubbed. Whether you want to or not is up to you, because the running joke is that she can't sing for shit. Which is appropriate because Kashima is voiced by Monica Royale. Yes, you have Monica Royale attempting to talk very androgynously with a deep-ass voice to try sounding like a man. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm not just saying that because I don't like Monica. I'm talking about the performance itself. I'm sorry, I don't know, man. I'm thinking, Hori, how can you find this sounding that appealing to you, man? Voice is part of the package, is all I'm saying. Sure, a lot of people are going to think I'm a dick for saying that. Jokes aside, though, Monica does okay as Kashima. Again, she does do her best to make the character sound like you could maybe confuse it for a dude, but I still think Caitlin Glass is much better at doing this sort of thing in a role like Haruhi from Ouran High School Host Club. Hell, some of the other voice actors in LA I think are alright at doing this too. Kaylee McKee, for example, who most of you would probably know as the main of the world's strongest sage with the weakest crest. I can't remember the dude's name off the top of my head. The pro tag from that. Kaylee McKee, I think, would have done good in a role like this. Monica, though, just okay. But yeah. Moving on from her, we have Yazuki Sayo, who, she's, I guess you could say overly aggressive. She's really mean without meaning to sound that way. She also has the biggest anime titties for those who care. But, yeah. Like, for example, one of the other characters coming up, Wakamatsu, wrote her a letter to meet him later. And when he's like, could you tell it was me that asked you here? And her response is, well, I mean, the frilly girly writing did throw me off. I didn't know it was a man. And she says this without really meaning to insult him. But, of course, he gets a little throw off. He's like, what the fuck? Why? So, that's her whole thing. She tries being nice a lot of the time, but doesn't realize she's actually being mean. Also, if you get her on the basketball court, she's insane and goes ape shit and overly aggressive and attacks everybody, pretending there's no rules, so there's that too. She also has a beautiful singing voice. That's no joke either. It plays into one of the running jokes coming up, which we'll get to in a minute when we get to Wakamatsu, who I mentioned a second ago. Anyway, Yazuki is voiced by Joanne Bonasso, probably butchered that, who's Magical Ruby from the Fate Prisma Ilia spin-off, and Nana from Flying Witch. Two shows I haven't seen, but being as how I'm a big fan of the Fate series, I probably should get around to this at some point. And I think she does really good. You can tell she's having a lot of fun with Yazuki. So, yeah. I don't really have any complaints on her. After her, we have the one I just mentioned before, Wakamatsu, who's a member of the basketball team, which is ironic, being as how he's voiced by Cameron Bodge, or Bosch. I don't know how to pronounce that, but you don't probably know him as Sora from Ahiru no Sora. See, it's connection. This was his first go at someone on the basketball team, at least from what I could tell. He's also Yamaguchi from Haikyuu, probably butchered that as well, and Osamu from My Love Story. Man, I need to start Haikyuu in My Love Story. For great things. And, yeah, Cameron does a great job as Wakamatsu. So, I'm going to tell you all one of the jokes here. He does not like Yazuki. She beats the shit out of him every time he tries practicing basketball with her. And he's getting annoyed of it, obviously. He's like, she doesn't care for the rules. She just attacks me. It's kind of bullshit, man. Right? So, because of that, it's causing him to freak out. He's having trouble sleeping, too, because he doesn't know how to basically tell her, stop showing up. You're not wanted here. You know, you're screwing up the game, etc. The one thing that helps him sleep is music. So, in order to help him sleep, one of the students, or Nozaki, I should say, basically gives him a CD of the singing club, I guess you call it. I think they call it the Glee Club, singing. And the CD happens to be Yazuki singing a song. But Wakamatsu doesn't know it's her singing. So he's like, thank you for the CD, man. It really helped. It lullabied me to sleep. I was able to sleep through the whole night. I haven't had a night's sleep that good in ages. Now I'm ready to face Yazuki, etc. It's kind of hilarious because he falls madly in love with the singer of the song that helped him through, you know, conquer his insomnia. But he doesn't realize that the singer is the person that he's, like, kind of pissed at. It actually works really well and is probably one of my favorite jokes, if not my favorite joke in the series. And Cameron does a fantastic job with this. He really does well with the whole dichotomy of it all, as well as playing off of Joanne in the scenes they do interact together. You can tell they're having a lot of fun with it. So, yeah. Next, we have Yukari Miyako, who's another mangaka that works with Nazaki. Like, she works at the same publishing place as him. And, she's basically his neighbor. And, I don't know, she seems like she has a cute personality, I guess. She's barely there. She's mainly there just to establish that, some of the editors at the manga publishing place are dicks, which I'll get to that in a second. She's voiced by Brittany G? It's DJIE. How the fuck am I supposed to pronounce that? Anyway, she's the voice of Toa from Magical Warfare. Oh god, Magical Warfare, no. And Gao from Nobunaga the Fool. That's what I was showing her if it's any good. And again, she does good with what she's given. She doesn't have as much screen time as the other characters, though. But she's on the main cast list, so what the hell, threw her in here anyways. Now we have the editors, which are the last major characters. First, we have Ken, Nazaki's editor, and his whole thing is... He, constantly gets on Nazaki's ass for not knowing how to, basically establish feelings very well. For example, there's a scene where he's yelling at Nazaki, like, look at the pages of this manga. All you have is Mamiko yelling Suzuki's name for the entire chapter instead of expressing her feelings in a meaningful way. Poking fun at that whole thing, Inuyasha Kagome, you know, like that. And I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, he's voiced by Louis Galindo, who's Hazuki from the Shenmue anime, and King Swain, if that's how you pronounce that, from Vinland Saga Sentai dub. I know. Trust me, that show is on the docket. I'm a fucking idiot for not watching that yet, but hey. Anyway, Lewis does a solid job as Ken. He gives off the older mentoring figure type to Nazaki, and yeah. After him, we have Mayano. Mayano is the editor for Yukari, and he was Nazaki's former editor, and he's kind of a fucking tool. And that's what I meant to say when I earlier with Yukari. So his whole thing is like, hey, Nazaki, your manga takes place in a school, right? You know what you should do? Have a new character show up. And Nazaki's just thinking to himself, he's like, it's a school, idiot. Of course there's going to be new characters to interact with. And then Mayano takes the credit for it when Nazaki does that. It's like, see, aren't you happy you listened to my suggestion of introducing a new character? Yeah, he's that kind of asshole. And Nazaki is like, huh, you know, it's February. Maybe I'll do a Valentine's chapter. Mayano takes credit for that too. Like, yeah, you should be happy you listened to me for Valentine's. Is more or less the examples I could give for this. Mayano is a dick. And Yukari is constantly being tortured by this asshole because he told her he mandated she put a tanuki in every chapter of her manga because it's his favorite animal. No joke. He's a dick. It is hilarious, though. Anyway, Mayano is voiced by Ned Gale, who's Hayashi from Chihaya Furu, and Nakagawa from Golden Time. And again, he's another one having way too much fun with this role, which do you blame him? So, yeah. I actually had a lot of fun with this dub, I did. Again, I don't think it's going to win any awards. A lot of the time it is your typical Sentai dubcast. For example, there's a couple of things you could call out, like Nazaki calling shoujo manga at some point shouju manga, you know, like Jew, J-W, etc. He really does that. But I can overlook it because you could tell everyone is having fun. And yeah, there is a couple of things to note, though. Mainly with Kashima, aka Monica Royale's character, and one of the specials, she gets pissed at Wakamatsu because... So Wakamatsu is asked to pick out a swimsuit for the object of his affection, and he picks one out just for Kashima, aka Monica Royale, to get pissed at him for the one he picked out, yelling it's sexual harassment. Bitch, you are not the one he picked it out for. You are not the one who gets to make the claim there. Also, all he did was listen to what his girl requested, more or less, when she said, hey, which one do you think would look good? He picked one. She could have refused herself. Just saying. But yeah. As far as ad voices go, if you know Sentai's voice actors, they're kind of bad. There's a shit ton of Christina Kellys and Andrew Loves and a handful of others, but none of the main cast are recycled, so there is that. Better than the typical shit you'd get out of LA's ad voice recycling, but it is still noticeable if you're familiar with these voice actors' voices at this point. But yeah. As far as the ending, I think this anime's ending was pretty alright. It ends where you'd expect. The specials carry it just a tiny bit farther to help continue some of the other ships, if that's your sort of thing. Yeah. Again, the specials weren't on Netflix, but they are all on YouTube last time I checked, and actually just realized it's not going to be on Netflix too much longer either. Pretty sure the show is on High Dive, though. And I'd recommend it if you're a connoisseur of rom-coms and, like, romances and stuff. There were some genuinely funny moments, and yeah. For me personally, like I said, I don't regret watching it. Just thought the show was slightly above average, but that could also be because rom-coms typically aren't my thing most of the time. Very few exceptions to that. I already mentioned one of them earlier, so don't want to keep repeating myself. But hey, you do get Chiyo spitting facts. She said the first time she noticed Nazaki and started having a crush on him is when she noticed how tall and masculine he looked. Alpha man for the win! Nah. Chiyo's best girl. Yeah. Month of Girls Nozaki Kun. Recommend giving it a shot and seeing what you all think of it if you haven't seen it already. Maybe you all get way more enjoyed out of it than I did. Maybe you'll hate it or something. I don't know. But thanks again for watching. Let me know if you agree with me, who you all think best girl is, or best boy, husbando, if that's your sort of thing. I don't know. Makoshiba is who I think everyone should pick, because it's fucking Makoshiba, come on. But who the hell knows? Anyways, guess that's it. And hope you all enjoy this one. Like the vid and all that if you could, please, for watching this on YouTube. It'd be much appreciated, and yeah. Hope you have yourselves a fantastic day. Thanks again for watching. MVP of the dub, like I said, is Juliette Simmons, but I do think everyone in this dub, for the most part, did a bang-up job. Even Monica, with what she was given, did okay. So, there's that. Anyways. Thanks again for watching, guys. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and take care.